Many people who study British literature are familiar with the Diary of Samuel Pepys. However, not many know about the mystery and the intrigue that lies beyond the excerpts that we have today. Samuel Pepys was born in 1633 and died in 1703. He was an English naval administrator and member of Parliament. He is most famous for his diary, in which he kept his daily observances of life in England during the Restoration period. He kept this detailed diary from 1660 to 1669. It is now one of the most important pieces of text from this time period because it is a primary source. It is the best account of life during the English Restoration period for many reasons, but especially because it gives eyewitness accounts of momentous events like the Great Fire of London, the Second Dutch War, and the Great Plague of London. Watch the following clip to hear part of his account of the Great Fire.
The great moment for Pepys, when the trajectory of his diary and public events met, is with the Great Fire of London. He's woken fairly early in the morning by one of the maids saying that there's a bit of a fire going on the horizon. Doesn't take too much notice. Breakfast time, it's getting obvious that this fire is getting serious. And he takes it on himself, and I think this is the curious thing, that he must go and inform the king. So he rushes to the river, he gets on a wherry and is rowed upstream to Westminster, where he finds the king and the Duke of York.
So I was called for and to tell the King and Duke of York what I saw, and that unless His Majesty did command houses to be pulled down, nothing could stop the fire. They seemed much troubled.
Imagine now, trying to get in to see Tony Blair. You'd be passing through kind of doors full of spin doctors and all the rest of it, but then it was, fairly straightforward. The access was there.
And the King commanded me to go to my Lord Mayor from him and command him to spare no houses. At last met my Lord Mayor in Canning Street like a man spent, with a handkerchief about his neck. To the King's message he cried like a fainting woman, "Lord, what can I do? I'm spent. People will not obey me. I've been pulling down houses, but the fire overtakes us faster than we can do it."
He went across to Bankside to look at the effect of the fire on the city and saw that it had moved down as far as his home at St Bride's, Salisbury Court. It had got that far. It moved down Fleet Street as far as St Dunstan's Church. And out on the river, the thing that was extraordinary was that where you would think it would be cool and wet and damp, there were these fire drops, these sparks of burning air, touching people's clothes and setting them on fire.
When we could endure no more upon the water, we went to a little alehouse on the bankside and saw the fire grow. And in the corners and upon steeples and between churches and houses, as far as we could see up the hill of the city, in a most horrid, malicious, bloody flame.
The fire, more than anything else, it grips us because we've got this sort of eyewitness account that is so personal that it stayed with us forever after.
In addition to providing details of these important events, his diary also provides us with a glimpse of what everyday life was like in England during the Restoration. From his observances, we can draw conclusions about their culture, such as women's role in society and popular entertainment. We can also draw conclusions about the accessibility of King Charles II to his subjects, as well as their perspective of their newly reinstated king. The mystery of the diary, though, stems from the fact that Pepys's diary was a very private piece of text. In fact, it is said that even his wife did not know about it. For this reason, the diary is an extremely honest account. Another interesting fact about the secrecy of his diary is that it was not written in spoken English. Pepys used a form of code to write it so that if the diary were found, no one would be able to read it. Pepys, a lover of all books, included the diary in his enormous collection of books, and upon the deaths of his heirs, willed his library to the Magdalene College of Cambridge. Once the diary was discovered, Reverend John Smith was assigned the task of trying to transcribe the code into English. It took him 3 whole years. However, it was later discovered that Pepys based his code off of a form of shorthand called Shelton's tachygraphy. To this day, his collection can be seen in the Pepys Building at the Magdalene College of Cambridge. The Diary of Samuel Pepys has had an immense impact on what we know about Restoration England today. In addition, the enigma that surrounded his diary has inspired many other writers over the years, and even today we can find examples of literature that were inspired by his cryptic writings. For example, The Devlin Diary, written by Christie Phillips, is a novel that focuses on a PhD student unraveling a historic diary written in code. There are several chapters that reference Samuel Pepys and his secret code. And another historical fiction novel, Invitation to a Funeral, puts the reader in 17th century London. Samuel Pepys himself is one of the characters in this Restoration-era mystery. The story behind Samuel Pepys and his diary reminds us that things aren't always what they seem to be on the surface.